What's up guys, Intelitech Studios here, and today we are going to be doing the living room vacuuming video with the repaired Dyson DC41 Animal Complete. Now I acquired this machine a little over a month ago, actually probably about 2 months ago at this point, and over my vacation break, or I should say before my vacation break, I actually had this sent off to a Dyson service center and they repaired it because the issue with it is that the lower hoses, both the what the Dyson rep described as the COV hose, which I assume is this hose and the changeover valve, and the lower hose was ripped. And unfortunately, now no matter what, you can't really change the changeover valve hose unless you completely disassemble the machine. But normally in the new Dyson ball uprights, you can replace this hose. Normally there's like a little clip underneath here that you can undo the hose and pop it out. Unfortunately, that's not the case on the 41, and I don't know if that's the case on the 65 as well. I know the 40 and the smaller units, as well as the newer ball uprights like the Kinetic and the Animal 2 and the Multifloor 2, this doesn't even have a screw. It just has a little tab that you pull out, and you can undo a little tab out here and yank the whole hose out and replace it. But can't do that on this one. You have to just find the hose and rip the whole thing apart yourself. And the hose is actually attached to a little connector piece that goes deep inside the ball. And it's a whole process. Now, I would have been okay with doing that after all. I'm a vacuum repair technician. I figured it's at least something I could try, but I couldn't find the part anywhere. Of course, like 2 days ago, I finally found the part on Amazon, but at the time I could not find the part anywhere. So I contacted Dyson, told them the problem with my 41, and this was after I had registered it on my Dyson website, which as of now, the ability to register machines on my Dyson website has stopped working for some reason. To this day, I still cannot log in to my website no matter how many times I call Dyson. It's very frustrating. But at the time, I registered this on my account, and for whatever reason, even though this machine's from 2013, it said that my vacuum was under warranty. Now, I didn't think much about that. I assumed that it was going to be out of warranty. So I called and said, hey, my DC41 it has no suction from the cleaner head, basically. It has very little suction coming from the hose, although the hose suction I didn't really care about because it actually was kind of nice having less suction in the hose because it meant that it wasn't just sticking to everything. But especially on the power head, there's no suction coming to it at all. And I confirmed that that lower hose was ripped. Now, I didn't see the actual COV hose being ripped, but I could tell the lower hose was ripped because it was taped up and there was air leaking from it. You could hear when the vacuum was running. So I talked to the representative on the phone, went through a few troubleshooting steps, all the usual hoopla. Did you try this? Did you try this? Did you try this? All just basic stuff that I already tried. But still, I went along with it. And they finally said, well, here's the thing. You're gonna need to send your vacuum in for it to be repaired. But the good news is, and this was completely unprompted, I did not say this at all. I did not ask for warranty service. They said, good news, this vacuum in our records shows that it's under warranty. It shows that you were the first person to register it. And since we still support the DC41, it is under warranty. Your warranty is valid until I think it was 2026 or something like that. And so I was like, okay, that's great. Yeah, I think it was October 2026 is when they said my warranty was valid, because that's when I registered. It was October 2021. And, 5-year warranty. So they're like, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a prepaid shipping label over email, and you can box up the machine, send it to us. It'll go to a Dyson service center in Wisconsin. And well, on the phone, she said it would go to Missouri, but it ended up going to Wisconsin. I live in Illinois, so obviously it's bordering states either way. I couldn't care less. And they're like, it'll take about 2 weeks. We'll fix it up and we'll send it back to you, no charge. And I was like, well, okay. I'm certainly not complaining because this sounds great. And, I'm like, great. So I get to fix up this old machine, get it up and running, do the review on it with it fully restored. And, I pay nothing out of pocket. I just have to worry about the getting it packaged. I'm like, that sounds great to me. So I bought a box. Actually, no, I didn't buy a box. I didn't buy a box in time, so I reused a box from Abyssal. I'm sure they didn't like that, but it was the only box I had at the time. So I actually reused the box from the Bissell Crosswave, and they didn't give me that box back. They actually sent the thing back completely like you see here, just sticking in a very obnoxious tall box. In fact, I think I have the box around here somewhere. Yeah, it's right there. You can see just obscenely tall box. And I'm surprised the thing arrived in one piece. So obviously that spoils that they did actually fix it. But for whatever reason, even though, yes, I get that the website said that it was under warranty, I figured maybe that was a fluke. So I assumed if I called, they'd be able to tell me if their internal system shows that it was already registered, and they didn't. I called, and I called back again before I shipped it just to make sure. And in both cases, they said, yes, your machine's under warranty. You have the label. Send it to us. We'll get it fixed in 2 weeks and send it back to you. No questions asked. Assuming that's, of course, the issue. And so I sent it in. And then I want to say about a week later after I sent it in, at this point, I called in. I don't remember if I called or not, but either way, I was expecting to basically get the call back saying, hey, your Dyson's fixed, it's on the way back, because this was according to the timeline that I was told. And then I missed a call, although it didn't actually show up in my calls for some reason, but I had a missed voicemail from a Dyson representative, and he was like, I just got your machine in, and in order to fix the suction, there's multiple hoses ripped on the machine. In order to fix that, it'll cost you $150, but I'll waive the shipping fee since we already have it. So he basically telling me that you really should be paying us $250 to fix this. It's actually not under warranty, even though we told you it was under warranty, and then we told you several times that it was under warranty, but you're going to have to give us $150 if you want this machine back. And you have 2 weeks to do it, and if you don't do it, they didn't say, but they were like, you have 2 weeks to make a decision on whether or not you want to either give us $150 to do the repair, or they said we could give you a 30% off discount on a Dyson Ball Animal 2. And because that was the only machine they had in stock, they didn't have the multi-floor or the Total Clean, nothing like that. That was the only machine they have in stock. To this day, it's the only machine they have in stock is a brand new Ball Animal 2. So, and I don't even know if in that scenario, if they would still give me my old vacuum back or if they would just keep it. They didn't specify. I assume they would send me the vacuum back, but I also don't know. I assume the default is that, they just keep it and recycle it or whatever, or like try to build it into a refurbished machine, and then I basically just use this machine as like a trade-in to get that 30% off. I don't know. I don't know that part. But obviously I was not up for that because I was like, well, I want to at least get the machine back because the Ball Animal 2 is not the same machine. I get the Ball Animal 2 is better, but it's like I wanted to have a 41 so I could compare it to the Ball Animal 2. So I have the oldest ball Dyson with this design and the newest one. So obviously I wasn't going to go with although the 30% discount is still there. It is still on my account to this day, which is really nice. At the time, they said I had like 30 days to use it, but I just called them a couple days ago, and they said that it was still on my account. I assumed that because she said that she basically had it on my account indefinitely for the most part. That obviously they won't say that, but it's there for a while, which is probably because everything's out of stock right now. But because I told her, they're like, well, I'm interested in buying the refurbished Ball Animal 2 and the refurbished Multi-Floor 2, so I can have both the newest uprights. And so it'd be nice to be able to apply it to both of those. Or, like to a car with both those sitting in it or whatever the case may be. And I don't even know if it would apply to refurbished machines. That they made it sound like it would only apply to new, but we'll see how that goes. So I'll obviously update the story on this whenever I get those machines. But so I call back, and I'll be honest, I hadn't looked at the voicemail yet. I knew I had a voicemail, but I called back basically asking for an update because I didn't know the voicemail was from Dyson. And that's when they said, we left you a voicemail letting you know that we can't fix this unless you pay us $150. And I was honest with them. I said, well, I don't have $150. I was, because I was literally about to go on vacation when this happened. I was already kind of stretching my budget pretty thin. And I told her, I mean, because look, and I told him the exact number. It's like I have like $3 in my bank account, so I don't know what you want me to do. I don't get paid for after that 2 week period that you're telling me about, so I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do at this point. And I'm like, I understand that the system is telling you that it's out of warranty, but I'm also kind of confused because, well, yes, I probably should have expected that this was out of warranty. In fact, I initially did when I made the first phone call. If I had known it was out of warranty, I wouldn't have bothered to send it in because you guys initiated it getting sent in because the prepaid label to send it in, to my knowledge, only occurs when the machine's under warranty and you're sent the label. That's what I was told, at least. So even though, yes, I as a repair technician and I as someone who knows a lot about Dyson knows that this machine is for sure not within warranty, at least not in warranty in the sense that if the warranty goes based off of when the vacuum was originally purchased. In that case, it's definitely out of warranty. Unless someone literally bought this like a year ago, which is kind of hard to believe. I mean, I know there's one of these on eBay, but that's not a very common situation. But I assumed that the way it worked is that if no one had registered the machine before, then that's when it would show up fresh on an account and the warranty would initiate then, because that's the way that it looked on the website. So I explained all this to the guy, and at first he was like, well, if we don't replace the back hose, because for some reason they needed to replace the back hose as well. I don't know why, but they said they did. And I said, what if I just want to fix the two main hoses that are preventing it from working? I can just buy a hose later. And they're like, well, if you do that, we can get it down to about 100. And then he was like, well, if I just replace the changeover hose, but don't replace the hose to go to the power head, I think it was, or there was something else that he was gonna do that it would bring it down to 60. And or no, I think it was if it's just the cost of the parts. So if it's just the cost of the two lower hoses, they don't replace the back hose and they don't charge for labor, they just charge for the parts. That's like 30 bucks a piece, and that's about 60 bucks, which I would have been fine with because I paid 60 bucks for the machine. And I would have done that and I wouldn't have haggled any further because yes, while in theory they told me it was under warranty, mix-ups happen. But it's like I kind of felt bad for the guy because it's like I don't know what to do because it's like if I had that money, I would give him the 60 bucks and not complain about it, but I don't have that money and I didn't know I was going to need to have that money because you guys told me that it was under warranty. It's just a whole big cluster F. And the interesting thing is that I've told this story to quite a number of other people, especially other repair technicians and other people in the vacuum community. And for some reason this issue is very polarizing. Like there's some people that say you're so dumb. There's no reason why you should have expected it to be under warranty. Even when they told you it was under warranty several times, you should have had the money in your account ready for it to go. You should have asked how much would it be if it's not under warranty and had that ready so you could pay them to fix it when they turn around and tell you it's not. And then I've heard other people say, well, yeah, that's crap because obviously your average consumer who doesn't know the difference between this Dyson and the newest Ball Animal 2 other than the color, they think it's the same machine. If they were gifted this machine from somebody or they bought it locally and they registered it and then they called fully expecting to pay for the fix, but then they're told go ahead and send it in, it's under warranty, don't worry about it, then when they get told once they have their machine that no, you actually need to pay if you want to get this back, then that seems coercive. It seems like a bait and switch. Like you're trying to tell me that this is free, so I'll send in my vacuum cleaner so then you can convince me, you can just try to get another sale out of me, whether it's this repair or whether it's a trade into a newer Dyson. And honestly, my thoughts are kind of somewhere in the middle because when it comes to this specific representative that left me the voicemail and that where I called back and he explained the situation, I could tell like his voice was very like tepid. I could tell that he was very hesitant to tell me this information. And I understand it because I've been in customer service. I know how bad it is. I can understand, especially around the holiday season, if someone's stressed out and then they get this call and they're like, oh no, now I have to worry about buying a whole new vacuum cleaner, then I can understand why if he's told other people that in the past, how they may get angry at him. Now, that doesn't justify their reaction, but I could tell that this guy was just not happy to tell me this information because I could tell that he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I feel really bad that Dyson put him in that position because he did not deserve to go through that. Because I will tell you this much, if I had set up a warranty repair for someone and they sent in the machine and then I had to be the one with the task of calling them back and telling them, no, we're actually going to need money from you to do this thing that we said we were going to do for free, my anxiety would not let me go with that call. Like, really, because it, I know that there are people out there for a fact that would not respond to that news very lightly. And that's why I obviously, now I shouldn't say that's why, because I'm always nice to people anyways on the phone because it's not their fault that any issue like this happens. And there's no reason for me to get upset because I knew this was going to happen going into it, or I knew this was a possibility, I should say, given the fact that yes, this is an old vacuum. But still, it is one of those things where it was finally the case, and I feel like I can say this because obviously this is on record now because it's on my account that this repair happened. So finally he just said, okay, just this once, I will let this go through because obviously I know you want to get your machine back. I know you were told something different, and that's obviously the fault of Dyson. So, I will make sure to reach out to the previous representatives, make sure they have the correct information, and we will do this repair just this once. We'll repair everything it needs. We'll do the labor. Won't cost you a penny. That 30% off for a new Dyson is still there if you want to use it later on. But for now, as a one-time courtesy, we'll do the repair. And obviously, once I heard that, my heart basically dropped back out of my throat into my chest where it's supposed to be. And I was like, well, thank you very much. And I really appreciate that. Again, I basically went into customer service mode. I was like, I'm sorry for all the inconvenience. I'm sorry for the confusion. I didn't intend for that to be the case. I had a feeling that this would have been too good to be true. I don't know if I said it that way, but basically I try to, give off that impression that's like, hey, I'm not trying to game the system here. I called expecting to pay for this repair, or at least expecting to get a quote back to see if it would be a good option for me. And I was told, don't worry about it, send it in, we'll handle the rest. And I called back multiple times. I did everything. I went far above and beyond what your average consumer would do as far as making sure this offer was valid. Because your average consumer, like it or not, is not going to look at this. Because first off, at the time, they still sold the Dyson Ball Multifloor Origin, which looks exactly like this machine. It looks identical. And even if the customer wasn't aware of that machine, they would look at this and think, oh, this looks just like the new ball animal. And they're like, oh, this is a DC41 animal, whatever. I guess they call it the ball animal now. They would think it's the same machine because it looks like the same vacuum. Sure, it is a different vacuum. It has slightly different design on the inside of it, obviously leading to the problem with the hoses in the first place. It has a different cleaner head. It has a different combination tool in the newest Dyson, and the colors are different. But to your average person, they're not going to see, care, or even pay attention to those discrepancies. They're going to think, oh, my family member or my friend gave me this Dyson for really cheap, or they even gave it to them for free. They said they only used it for a brief period of time, which I'm not saying that Marco said that when he sent it to me, but I'm thinking about this from the perspective of if I was your average consumer that had a situation like this happen, then you're going to be relatively annoyed and you're going to feel like Dyson tried to screw you over and, try to get some money out of you for a repair that you only initiated because you thought it was free. So, and I remember asking this question. I was like, okay, so here's the thing. I registered this on my Dyson account and I called over the phone several times in between the time that I initially inquired about this repair and when it actually physically got sent in. So, if this is all the case, and during all this entire time, it said the machine was under warranty and that the work would be covered under warranty, then why is it that your guys' internal system is saying something different? Wouldn't that internal system show up on the website? Or even if it was the website's fault, and even if Dyson's internal system did say this was not under warranty, and that there was some confusion there, then why wasn't that told to me whenever I called over the phone to set up this repair? And what I was basically told is that, well, the system, when you actually call into the warranty center, they use a different database than what the over the phone support representatives use for gauging a Dyson's warranty. And the other issue is that even if a Dyson serial number has already been registered, when you register it on a new account, it will by default roll over and think that it's a brand new account because most people aren't reusing the serial numbers. That's basically the explanation that I was told. Because I myself was under the impression that it will register under the Dyson website if no one ever registered it. And if someone did register it, then it would say this machine has already been registered. That was my impression, but apparently that's not even true. Apparently it will let you register just about anything, and as long as the website screws up and lets you reuse a serial number in the database, then it will essentially start over as if it's a new machine, which is very, very confusing. And this is even a little bit confusing even to me. And I'm a person who has 15 years of experience in both vacuum repair and technology, and again, like cell phone repair, computer repair, software, not really engineering, but just point is, I'm not technologically stupid. And even I was kind of having a hard time wrapping my head around this, in the sense that, not that these issues could happen, because problems happen all the time, but the idea that all of this would be a problem that the end user would have to deal with, and that it would go beyond Dyson's back end. So, and based on the fact that after all that, I literally had to call over the phone to register my last two Dyson machines, the 17 and the Ball Total Clean, and I still can't log into my account, it's pretty clear that Dyson's website is not working good for anybody. And so I still have not gotten my account fixed, even though I changed my password. I've tried different browsers. I've tried everything. I've called them a million times about my account and it not letting me log in. And I have gotten nothing. So, I've been told that it will be escalated and nothing ever happens. So I'm a little disappointed with Dyson's, you know, website backend. Although the actual customer service experience with this machine was pretty good, given the fact that they did cover it what they said they would. But obviously now I know that if I want to check a machine as being covered under warranty, I have to call into the actual warehouse or the actual service center to confirm warranty, which is honestly not something that your average consumer should have to do. And I really hope that the case that I went through with this machine will be good sort of case research for Dyson to actually fix their back end on a lot of their warranty infrastructures and databases, because I'm hoping that I was the guinea pig to kind of help them figure out all this, because for your average consumer, that if they did spend 400, because literally, like, there's someone right now on eBay selling this exact machine brand new, old stock, for $400. If you had bought that machine, sure, Dyson will say, oh, but you didn't buy it from a Dyson authorized retailer. Okay, sure, that's great and all. But to your average consumer, if they buy a brand new machine, or even if they buy a machine that's new to them and it's not that old, and they expect it, if it's like a store return or something like that, they're going, whether you like it or not, the customer is going to expect to receive support for a product, especially when the 5-year warranty is a big selling point for that product. Now, granted, Dyson's warranties have been great in my experience. I've gotten new parts for, well, mainly I've gotten a few new parts for my Dyson Kinetic. That's really the only machine that I've warrantied out parts for. This machine I've just warrantied out. Oh, and then I got a new wand for my Dyson Slim Ball, which I keep forgetting I even own. And I'll probably forget again, end up buying another one because I'm an idiot. But so this machine is up and running, and they also mentioned to me that there's a few other issues with it, like there's missing screws in the motor housing, the brush roll was non-genuine, all sorts of crap like that. So it seems like whoever had this machine before Marco had it clearly was not nice to it, which explains how the hoses ripped. But, anyways, that's enough rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. And, yeah, so it's a bit intense. and I'm glad that I was able to get the machine back. I'm glad that I was able to get it working. I'm thankful for Dyson for having repaired this machine, and in future I will just know that it's like, you know, that I'm gonna have to jump through a lot of hoops if I want to check if a machine's under warranty. And again, I want to reiterate for the people that are gonna say that I somehow like intentionally tried to screw over Dyson and get them to fix my old machine. I called them literally only inquiring for how I would buy the parts to fix this. I wasn't even necessarily asking about warranty, but I was more so just thinking like, hey, if you won't sell me the parts, how much would it be if I was to send it in and have it fixed? And that's when they told me, oh, it's actually going to cost you nothing because it's under warranty. So what am I supposed to say in that regard? Am I supposed to say, no, I actually don't believe you. I want to pay for it. Tell me how much I have to pay you. No, nobody's going to do that. So, but at least I do know in future, if I do call them, I will have to ask, hey, if this isn't covered, how much am I going to expect to pay? And then expect to get that phone call. Unless I do buy direct from Dyson or something, which I probably won't do because that's too expensive. Actually, no, I guess I will do that at some point since I have a 30% discount. So I will use it, but I would rather not use it on a brand new machine because I really don't like buying, contrary to what you guys may think, I don't really like buying brand new machines. I would rather buy refurbished or rebuilt machines because it's just less wasteful. And, you know, that's just the way that I prefer doing it. I don't like the idea of a machine being entirely produced. And then plus, vacuums are a lot like cars, where the second you start using it, it immediately loses like half its value anyways, if not more. So, you know, just it doesn't really make sense to me to pay the premium just to have the first speck of dust that goes into the vacuum be my speck of dust and not someone else's speck of dust. It doesn't really concern me. My concern at that point would just be, oh, is the machine like all scratched up and destroyed and tore up, which, you know, obviously has happened quite a number of times. Speaking of Dyson, remember that DC14 low reach that had all the cracked up motor housing? Ugh, that was a mess, wasn't it? But yeah. So, anyways, this is the Dyson DC. Oh, and the other thing I should mention is that I was also kind of hoping that now at the time this brush roll was making a buzzing noise, and I was kind of hoping that they would fix that as well. And I don't know if they did. The brush roll looks the same to me. It is the same brush roll, but it doesn't make that noise anymore. So I don't know if they did something to the motor, but it hasn't made that noise. So I'm happy about that. So then there's only two minor issues with this vacuum at this point. One issue is that this wand cap doesn't want to push down all the way to cover up the wand. So it kind of sticks up. So whenever the vacuum's upright like this, it'll bleed air out of this crack right here, and that will make a whistling noise. But that's not a big deal to me because how often are you leaving it standing up like this? And the only other issue is, and this is an issue with 41s all over the place, is that this button sometimes you'll push this button and the flap on the bottom won't open, and you'll have to like hold this handle and like push it just right because there's a lot of play in this cyclone assembly. And then when you go to put it on the machine, sometimes the button doesn't pop all the way up, and you got to kind of give it a wiggle, and then it pops right back in. You see, you just gotta kind of wiggle it. And neither of those got fixed. So, but again, since they fixed it for free, then I'm not complaining about those issues because those are just minor issues. And considering I still only have $60 into this, I guess not 60, I have $80 into this machine because I did buy new filters for it. And so for that, I'm not complaining, but I will say, had I paid Dyson $250, literally the price of a brand new refurbished Ball Animal 2, had I paid them that much and it still had these problems, I would be irritated because that would be ridiculous. And so yeah, that's basically that. So we're going to go ahead and give this a run. Finally, after 30 minutes of me babbling, we're going to give this a run. And I've been testing this on and off in preparation for the full review since this machine, not this one. This one I think is from 2014 or 2013. Actually, I think it says somewhere. Yeah, 25th week of 2013. So I don't know why this isn't focusing, but So, what was I going to say? So I will be doing a review on this, and I've also been periodically swapping it with the head on my Kinetic Big Ball, since this is obviously a much more powerful brush roll, and I've been testing it back and forth with the original head and with the Kinetic head, since obviously a lot of people are like, this head doesn't perform well, why are you using it, the 41 sucks, blah 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 blah. Okay. But for now, we are running it stock with the original head. And the reason why it's all clouded is because I did test the machine with Dyson Zorb, since I just got a thing of Zorb, and that's why it's discolored on the inside, and why this bin looks as bad as it does. Because I'm testing out the Dyson Zorb powder, which with this head doesn't extract very well, but with that one it does great. So, anyways, we'll finally give this thing a run. I'm actually going to hold this with my other hand because my right hand is kind of cramping, so I'll vacuum with my left hand. Yeah, so right before this video, I actually did have the kinetic head on this, and I've been using this as my daily driver to prepare for the full review. And I will say, oh, okay, well, I mean, it got all that even with the crappier head. I'd see, this is kind of bizarre because I've heard so many people say that, of course, the baffles are in the way. There's a bunch of dust on the underside right there, so I'll have to wipe that off. But of course, this bin just flops all around. This is just not designed very well, in all honesty. How far do I have to shake this before this pops off? Because I've heard some people say if you shake this really hard, it pops off. Okay, well, it doesn't pop off. But now I gotta wipe all that dust off. But, so the thing is, and of course that gasket is filthy, like it always is. You can tell it's just leaking dust on the perimeter of that. Not good. So, I mean, the results speak for themselves. I do know there was a little bit of hair and stuff in here. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of this fine dust and sand came out when the kinetic head was on it, because I used it once to clean the living room with the kinetic head, and then I did it just now with the normal head, and that's on the same bin cycle. So I emptied it prior to using the kinetic head, and results are pretty good. So that's combined from both heads. So I will say the agitation on the actual original 41 head is not nearly as good as on the newer, cleaner heads. But as far as the actual cleaning performance, it's not as big of a gap as some people say. Maybe that's because these aftermarket bristles, maybe they perform better than the genuine ones. It's entirely possible. But I don't know. So I really don't think that the 41, at least with my brush roll, maybe my brush roll is an aftermarket that does better, but it's not like a horrible